I am Ibrahim Traoré, and today I appear before you to unveil the ugly truths about pharmaceutical companies. You label me a radical, a young military leader, an anti-Western tyrant. But today, I speak unchained truth. Your microphones cannot be covered, your cameras cannot be evaded, and your editors cannot cut my words short. The world you once controlled has vanished. Millions shall hear this message directly, unblemished by your manipulation and deceit. I'm 34, raised on your deceit. I was born watching Africa as it was shown before us on television. Sick children, epidemics, death. You showed this to us as being the narrative of Africa, and we believed you. We were embarrassed about our homelands, about our people. But I matured, and I researched, I questioned. I learned the Africa you showed us was a lie, a scripted act you put on for many years. I'd like to share a true story. In 2021, I visited Dori, a small village in northeast Burkina Faso, as a new army officer. I had gone to hear the people's woes. I was sitting in the village square when I saw Aminata, an 8-year-old girl in a wheelchair, paralyzed from the legs down. I turned to the village head, Madhu, and asked him what had happened. "We don't know, sir," he said. 6 months ago, she was healthy. I spoke with 47 children in Dori that day, all paralyzed, all since March 2021. I did further investigation, examining health reports, and discovered a pattern. All had joined a GlaxoSmithKline test malaria vaccine program. That day, I witnessed the Africa you portray. Your coverage, CNN, BBC, the New York Times, inform us only of hunger, war, disease. No success, no accomplishment, only desperation. As if Africa is a black and white tragedy, a stain on the map waiting to be saved by you. Your lexicon of Africa has but words like disease, epidemic, death. No hope, no pride, no victory. I challenge you, Pfizer, Novartis, GlaxoSmithKline, Johnson & Johnson, Merck. Where are the news headlines about your achievements in Africa? Your trials with polio vaccine in Nigeria, HIV drug trials in Uganda, malaria vaccine trials in Malawi, antiretroviral trials in Kenya? You hide them because they don't fit your agenda. A successful Africa threatens your exploitation. Here are the statistics you hide. Hundreds of thousands of African children are put through experimental drug testing annually. 18% are permanently harmed, 7% are murdered. You call this medical aid. Let me show you the truth. 2016 Pfizer scandal. Experimental meningitis vaccine used on 200 Nigerian children in Kano. Result: 11 died. 189 had lifelong brain damage. Pfizer paid $2 million, but an executive never stood trial. Albert Bourla, director of research at the time, is now CEO, celebrated and enriched. 2019 GlaxoSmithKline tragedy. RTSS malaria vaccine trial in Malawi on 720,000 children. Death rose among vaccinated children, 340 paralyzed. CEO Emma Walmsley called it an acceptable side effect. Aminata was one of them. 2020 Johnson & Johnson scandal. COVID vaccine phase 3 trial in South Africa on 44,000 people, 267 died because of side effects. J&J labeled it statistically normal. 2021 Moderna secret study, mRNA technology tested in Ghana on 15,000 kids. Cardiac problems went up by 340%. The story was covered up. Which of your papers broke it? None. That is only the tip of the iceberg. Behind your photographs of suffering, a system operates in the dark. Buses full of blood, DNA, and tissue samples leave our shores daily. How? They first buy our leaders. Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, WHO Director General, is the quintessential example. As Ethiopia's health minister, he covered up a 2016 cholera outbreak and characterized it as acute watery diarrhea to protect tourism. In 2017, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation funded his WHO campaign for $50 million. Now, he endorses all big pharma actions, from Pfizer's emergency use authorization to Moderna's African trials, while whitewashing for Johnson & Johnson scandals. And let's not forget South Africa's top doctor, Professor Salim Abdul Karim, who heads the COVID-19 Advisory Board. He authorizes vaccines and procedures and rakes in $2 million annually from Pfizer in the form of consultancy fees. When 267 individuals perished in 2021 from J&J's vaccine, he called it normal and gagged the news. Second, they control our institutions. The Africa CDC, as African as it appears, had a budget of $800 million in 2022, $584 million from the Gates Foundation. Atlanta calls the shots, not Africa. Dr. John Nkengasong, its director and a former CDC Atlanta employee, is Gates-funded. When South Africa tried to produce its own low-cost COVID vaccine in 2021, Nkengasong declared it unsafe, but greenlit the pricey alternative by Pfizer. Third, they have media monopolies. The New York Times took in $640 million of advertising income in 2022, with Pfizer's $340 million being the largest amount. Johnson & Johnson paid $290 million for a takeover of CNN's health shows by Dr. Sanjay Gupta, whose consulting company is paid $1.8 million by J&J. Gates funded the BBC's worldwide health department at a cost of $180 million, and they only report on Gates-funded projects. Rupert Murdoch's media empire, Fox News, The Wall Street Journal, The Sun, has shares in Pfizer, Moderna, and GSK, so news keeps his investments secure. That will cost me my life, but I will not remain silent. I glance at Aminata, paralyzed, at the hopeless expression of her mother. She is not just a name, she is an emblem of the many victims of your system. But today, that system ends. I am no ordinary soldier. I am a president, symbol of Africa's rebellion. Today, I announce the Africa Health Freedom Pact, which is signed by Burkina Faso, Malawi, Niger, Chad, Mali, Guinea, Senegal, and Benin. Its articles ban testing of experimental drugs on our lands, make permission mandatory for any blood or DNA sample from our children, block African genetic data from exportation off the continent, close Big Pharma's labs, establish the Africa Drug Agency to produce our own vaccines. Within 1 year, the Africa Drug Agency will operate from Ouagadougou on a $5 billion budget from 54 African nations. Within 5 years, we shall be producing malaria, HIV, and tuberculosis vaccines. Within 10 years, African pharmaceutical companies will be selling in Europe and America. Africa is not your colony. Our children are not your lab rats. Our health is not your business. I have uncovered your lies and dismantled your system. Aminata, now 12, is still not walking, but she is attending school, learning mathematics and computers. She told me last month, "Brother Ibrahim, no one can deceive us anymore. You told the truth. Now we are secure." Yes, we are secure. I am doing battle for Aminata, for our children, for the future of Africa. The truth is out, and it will set us free. We are free.